Hey, what's up guys and gals? It's me, your old buddy Mr. Moose, back with another edition of Farming Simulator 2015. We are on the dedicated server today, and we're going to do a little plowing, as you can tell. We are on Graceland. I know what you're thinking. What? Another map change? I know, right? I made no secret about the fact that I wanted to play on Graceland. I think it's just a better overall map for multiplayer. It's larger, which means it offers more more opportunities for people to work together and for cooperation. And it just has more to do. So we had the issue with the planting in the field after extensive testing on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. I finally found the issue is the seeders that you use. We were using the stock in-game seeders, and if you use a seeder that doesn't have a disc on the back of it so that it has some weight to it, you just cannot get the performance out of the fields. So basically what I had to do for corn and potatoes was grab the John Deere flex wing air seeders and add those into the game. They have the disc on the back, they have the amount of weight that you need, and they worked just fine for it. So that got everything going, and yeah, so we're back. If you do play on the multiplayer, you have one file to download. I mentioned it in the announcements, and that is just the John Deere flex wing air seeder. So grab that and you'll be good to go. Let's see other changes. Now that we're back on here, I had intended to add these 9630s in as we got to going along, and so I'm going to add a couple of these in for you guys who like the articulated tractors. If you haven't seen this is the 9600 Select or 9630 Select. It does allow you to mess around with the tires a little bit. If you hit 4, you can make the tires wider or narrower. And then you can also hit 5. You can put row crop tires on it. Now in the store, you can also buy a pallet of tires for it, which allows you to do duals as well as do triples on it. So if you come here, you can come in and you put the duals on it for another 8,000. You can put triples on it for 16,000. But I'm probably not going to buy those. I don't know. I might buy the duals and slap them on there. But for today's video, we're just going to widen up the tires a little bit, and we'll get in here and do some plowing. So on today's video, I want to talk a little bit about some of the controls on the servers, because a lot of people are having issues with them. And I'm going to start off with GPS. To enable GPS, you want to hit Control, left control and 0 on your numpad. That's going to turn it on. If you want to get the advanced menu over here, you hold down left control and hit the delete or period on your numpad, and that will cycle through the small version, the regular version, and off. Then other controls you need, if you hit the number pad 3, control number pad 3, it will give you a new course. It will auto define the width of it, and then to go ahead and enable it, you go ahead and hit Control W. You'll hear that little sound there. That means it's locked on to the course that you're going to drive, and it will drive that. Now that little blue line in front of us is an offset. If you're using a tool that needs an offset, you want that there, but in our case we don't. Now to get rid of that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drive a straight line so that my implement gets out behind me. I'm going to unfold my implement. Let me switch over to it real quick. Go ahead and unfold your tool completely out so that you get the right sizing and everything on this. And then you want to just pull forward so that the implement gets right behind you in a straight line. Hold down your left control, hit the number pad 3, and you'll see it resized the course. It got rid of the offset, and now I have a nice straight line. And if I look over at my GPS window, it tells me I have a 10.5 working width, which I know is hard to see for you guys, but it's incredibly hard for me to see as well. And that will enable it. It will give you the proper working width, and you'll be good to go. And you can always verify your working widths in the store to make sure you have the right working width. Then it's just a matter of using Control and W to either disable or enable your course, and you'll get a different sound effect each time you do it. And that's the basics that you need. The only other thing you really need to know, if you want to interface with this window here and use some of the adjustments here, you can go ahead and hold down your left control. That'll give you the cursor icon. A does the same thing that Control 3 does. That gives you the auto adjust feature. You can go ahead then and you can use these two directional keys here to adjust your course over so that you get it properly to wherever you want to start with. And then right here, there's a little shopping cart looking icon. If you're working together with somebody in the field and you want to copy their course, you can copy their course using that. Now, I do have a detailed video about GPS on the site. So if you guys want to look at how-tos, there is a full-length description on how to use. It's about an hour. It's very in-depth on how to use GPS. I would love for you guys to go watch that, and that way you'll get some info on how to use GPS. Go from there. Then it's just a matter of coming over here, getting started on your line that you're going to use. Just line up with it. Hit your button to get that beautiful little sound there from Green Star. Move forward, get to where you're going to go, and then you can start doing your work. Now I'm going to be plowing this field under that was grass, and it absolutely looks horrible. It never grew in right because of the textures under it, and so we are going to plow it under. I do need to go in and switch the field creation mode over to allow to create fields, so let's get that. And let's get started. So I'm just gonna pull back here so I can see what I'm doing. I want to try to get this corner about right, and that should do it right there. Alrighty, let's get going. Alright, so that gets us going, and that gives you the basics of GPS. Now, the next thing that I want to talk to you about is drive control, because a lot of you guys haven't used drive control. It's been a long time since I even talked about drive control, so just kind of go over the basics of drive control for you guys, so you know what you're looking at. A lot of you guys have never even used drive control, so drive control just adds extra functionality for your tractor. The first and foremost thing, it allows you to manually control the ignition. That means that when you jump in the tractor, in the stock game, every time you jump in the tractor it starts, and every time you jump out it stops. That's sort of annoying. So drive control gives you the ability to turn it on and off, and you do that by using enter on your keyboard. Just hold it down for a couple of seconds, you'll hear the tractor start, and the little battery icon will go away over in your right about here. There'll be a little battery icon. It'll go away and your tractor will be started and ready to go. The next thing you'll have is you'll see that you'll have this little parking icon. Let me go ahead and turn this thing off. Alright, so there's the battery icon. That lets you know the tractor's turned off. I hold down my enter key for just a couple of seconds. It starts up, we're running. The parking icon is now on because the parking brake is on. To get rid of the parking brake, I'm going to hit left control and the space bar, and that's going to get rid of that. The next icon here is the shuttle mode. Now, I use shuttle mode because I drive with a G27, and I want my gas pedal to control acceleration going forwards and backwards. So that means I need a way to shift the transmission into forward and reverse. So I have shuttle mode enabled in the game, and what shuttle mode allows me to do is just by tapping the space bar, I can go from going forward, tap the space bar, you'll see the little green arrow switched. Now I'm going in reverse, I tap it again, I'm going forward again. And that allows me to use my accelerator as my accelerator, and use my brake as my brake on my G27. Now if you're playing on keyboard and you're using WASD and you're used to using WSD, shuttle mode may not be your cup of tea. So how do you disengage it in the game? All you have to do is stop for a second, hold down your shift button for about 5 seconds. You'll see the green arrow goes away, and now it's basically a hydrostatic transmission. It works just like the game was stock. W is forward, S is reverse. In my case, my forward is my gas and my brake is reverse, and that's really annoying. So I want to turn it back on. Pretty easy. If you get in a tractor and you don't see that little green light there, hold down the space bar for about 5 seconds. The little green arrow will reappear, and now you can use your shuttle mode just the way you were. There are a lot of people who are used to playing with shuttle mode, and they're getting on the server and they're getting in a tractor and it won't move for them, and they're wondering, or it doesn't work the way they wanted, because it's they've gotten used to shuttle mode, but they forget how to turn it back on. And because I've had more than one person say, well, you know, it's pretty good, I like it, the server's great, the controls are a little different than I'm used to, you know, the way my controls set up don't work. And I'm like, well, how do you have your controls set up any different than the way I've got them on here? Tell me what you're doing wrong. And after listening to them talk, it turns out they had drive control in shuttle mode, and they want to use shuttle mode, and they just didn't realize that, oh yeah, all I got to do is enable it on my system on this end, and I can use it. And that way, everybody's not trapped into using it, you know, a way that isn't comfortable for them. You know, I'm trying to make the game as pleasurable for everyone as possible. And so the nice thing about drive control is it gives you the ability to customize it to your needs. So but anyways, that's the basics of drive control. Those are the issues that give everybody the most problems. Little other things that you want to note in drive control: if you hold down shift and the number pad 3, you're going to see some icons change over here in the bottom right hand corner where I'm circling right now. There's a little hand right now that says 100%, and basically what that says is I'm going to put, if I enable cruise control and I'm doing something like seeding or harvesting, if I'm chasing somebody with a tipper and I'm using cruise control and I'm going across the seed, maybe I'm gathering up straw using a forage harvester, and I've got cruise control and I'm running across the field using cruise control. When my harvest wagon gets to 100% capacity and I have that little hand up that has 100%, the tractor's going to stop moving. The cruise control is going to disengage and the tractor's going to stop moving. That's it when I get to 100%. Now, if I hold shift down and I do number pad 3 again, you'll see now that I have a hand and I have the number 0. And basically that's 0%. And what that does is, if I'm seeding a field, fertilizing, seeding, I'm doing anything that is consuming a resource. As I drive across the field, maybe I'm spreading manure, slurry, something like that, and I've got cruise control on, when the capacity of whatever implement I'm using gets to 0, then cruise control is going to shut off and my vehicle is going to stop right in its place. So that's what that mode is. And I'm going to go ahead and adjust it again, and I've got 2 green arrows side by side. This is a mimic feature, and basically what it allows you to do is mimic the speed of the vehicle that you're chasing. So if you're chasing a combine or forage harvester and you're offloading them, and you want to be able to maintain the exact same speed that they're doing, you can put it into this mode. Then when you enable your cruise control, you are automatically going to have their speed. Alright, so I'm going to adjust this over so I have the exact same working width as the field, though I could adjust this and just cut my own working width. And I want to come in here better so I get this straight. I don't know why I don't like straight corners, but I'm just trying to match the field up. So swing out nice and wide. Cut this. All right. All right, so we'll get this field cut in and shaped back up. So anyways, yeah, the little green arrows, that's just mimic or speed match, and lets you use cruise control to speed match the tractor that you're following. So and then the next thing, if you hit 3 again, it's going to give you the old cruise control icon there. So yeah. All right. There's some few other functions in drive control. I'll let you guys research those and learn those on your own. Just be aware drive control does also enable crop destruction. So if a field is planted and it is past the seed stage, meaning that if you're seeding a field, you're not going to have a problem. But once it has its first growth stage, to where you see a little seedling or something, if you drive over that field, you'll destroy the crop that's in there, and you'll leave tram lines across the field. So just keep that in mind. Drive control is on the server, so if you go hauling off across the fruit, you're going to destroy it. So you need to keep that in mind when you're harvesting a field. I see you guys getting the combines a lot, and you're not used to doing multiplayer, and maybe you're also not used to doing drive control. But when you're driving the combine, you always want to keep your pipe into the open end of the field. You don't want your pipe in the fruit. That way that your tender can come up to your combine and he can unload you without having to drive through the fruit and destroy whatever your crop is. So keep that in mind. So think about that when you guys are trying to do gang harvesting. Starting in the on the edge of the field and going up and back parallel down the field is not a good idea, because that means you're going to be losing you're going to have your pipe out in the middle of the field the whole time, and your tender's going to have to drive through the crop in order to unload you. So a better practice is either to drive around the perimeter in big circles or cut straight up the center of the field on your first pass, and then start doing left-hand turns the entire time, and you open up the field and your pipe will always be to the outside, and you'll always have a clear path for your tender to come up and get to you. So keep that in mind when you're doing harvesting. I've seen it several times now, and it's with the size of these fields, you know, if you're playing a smaller map and you can make a run up and you can't, and it's not going to fill up your combine, it's not a big issue. But on a field this big, or on a farm with the fields that are this big, your combine's going to fill up on a pass running up through there, and you're not going to have your tender's not going to be able to get to you and unload you without destroying the crop. So keep that in mind when you're setting yourself up for harvesting. And just remember, guys, crop destruction is on the tractor, so you will have some issues with that. All right, trying to get straightened up here. I probably ought to take a GPS line here. I'm going to. There we go. That'll solve all my issues. I'm just framing this field up. Once the field is framed and ready to go, I will start my runs across the field and start plowing it under. I will probably do one more headland pass just to give me a little comfort on turning and getting my turns done, and then I'll set it up on GPS, and I'll do that whole 3-5 that I was talking about the other day, where I come across the field, I rise up 5, I go back across the field, I drop down 3, and that way I can progressively step right on up the field. If someone were over here with me, it would be different, but I think they're doing some they're getting straw out of one of the fields they had harvested before, and so yeah, this is field 19. I planted, and it had gotten planted by accident, or it had gotten plowed by accident, and we went ahead and reseeded it because we wanted this to be a dedicated grass field, but unfortunately it never grew back, and for some, the textures on it just didn't work. I think I've talked to you guys about the way planting works in the game. When you go to seed any other fruit, it seeds the fruit in there and that grows, but grass doesn't. Grass is not actually seeded. Grass just basically erases the field, and whatever texture the map creator has put underneath there is what you get for the actual field. And in this case, it looks like what they put underneath was dirt, and so we don't really have a field underneath here per se. So yeah, so Since it just didn't never grow in right and it didn't look right, I went ahead and decided we'll go ahead and ditch it. Excuse me, my sinuses are messing me up a little bit. Anyways, decided to go ahead and ditch it. I'm gonna sneeze. They always come in threes. All right, I'm back. Yeah, my sneezes are like celebrity deaths. They come in threes. So took me just a second to knock that out. So yeah, anyways, on this field we're stuck with brown dirt for a grass texture, which doesn't really look good. So it is what it is, and I'm gonna go ahead and plow 19. And I think what I'm gonna do, and somebody who's played this map before told me 21's a nightmare as far as some of the ground textures in it. So I think what we're going to go ahead and do on the map is I'm going to move the lawn equipment from 19 and move it over to 21, where I've got if you see the little gas tanker right here at 21. This is also where I have the potato and the sugar beet machinery stored, and that's where I want that to stay. I'm trying to spread some of the equipment out so not everything is at the main farmyard. So the sugar beet harvesters and the potato harvesters are over at field 21 in the shed right there. And probably what we'll do is we'll make these like dedicated potato sugar beet fields, and then that way you guys can always, it'll be a short hop to do that. I'm also going to combine these 3 fields together at the end of the next harvest and just make this one big field. I think that just makes sense. And that one, any of those fields that are close to that shed, you guys feel free to go ahead and do your potatoes and sugar beets there. And then that way it won't be a far hop for you to get the equipment. There's also a seed station there and fertilizer there, so it won't be as bad for you when you're planting like potatoes to get back and get some seed. It's a little bit ugly right there on the edge, but I can deal with it. Alright, so with that done, we can start cutting our field, and I'll clean the other end up when I get down to the other end as well. So alright, I'm gonna come in here, I'm gonna redo my course so that we're facing this direction. I am going to go ahead and move my course over so it matches up what I've already plowed. There we go. Snap to it. There we go. That's just Control W. Drop my plow, and we get to going. So what else is we not covered? So you guys know about Melt Max. I get a lot of people saying, how do I get on the server? How do I get on the server? In the show notes, there is a link that says server and mod information, or server and mod info. Click on it. It's going to take you to the mod spreadsheet. The first page will give you all the information about the dedicated server. It'll give you the name of it, tell you where to get the mods. It will tell you how to get onto Discord. All that information is there for you, so go ahead and make sure you go there, check it out, and go from there. Somebody wrote me a note that said they downloaded the mods, they tried to connect to the server and it crashes their game, or they're trying to connect to the server and it crashes their game. If you've got all the mods and you can take all the mods that are on the server, go into single player and see if you can start a single player game. If you can start a single player game, you should be able to get on the computer and play in multiplayer. If you try to start a single player game on your computer and it crashes your computer, somewhere you've got a mod conflict and you're going to have to figure that out. I can't figure that out on my end because I don't know what mods you have on your end. So My suggestion to everyone, and it's always been the same, and I've said this to you a million times: isolate your mods from my mods. So take your mods folder before you even think about getting on the dedicated server. Go make a backup copy of your mods folder. So go into my games, Farm Simulator, and go in and you'll find the folder that says mods. Copy that mods folder and move it somewhere else. Make a folder in your My Documents tab and call it, my Farm Sim files. And copy and paste that entire mods folder into there. Then you can go in and delete everything that is in your mods folder. You can just go in and delete that and start over again. Once you verify that you have a copy, you can clean out your mods folder. You can either delete the entire mods folder and create a new one, or you can go in there and so I'm going to cut this headland real quick just to make it a little wider and give me an easier transition as I work up and down the field, so I don't have to so I don't plow out too far. So I'm just going to give myself one more width, and then I'm going to actually start my progression run across the field and do that thing that I do so well. Alrighty. So anyways, but yeah, copy your mods folder and make a backup of it. Then, or just move it from your Farm Sim file into another folder so that you're not messing with it. Then create a new mods folder, MODS, in Farm Sim to replace the other one. It's now empty. Download all the mods from the server, slap those in the mods game, launch the game, and come on in. And that way you know you don't have any mod conflicts, and you have exactly the mods that you need for the game, for the server. And if you're getting them straight from the server, you know you're getting the same version that we're using on here, and you won't have any problems getting in the game. I find some people are having issues with the downloads because they're not reading what I've written on the mod spreadsheet. You know, it's real easy to get the mods. You go in there, first time getting the mods, go in there. There's a little golden file down at the bottom of the mods list. And if you click it, it will download every mod at one time and put them into your mods folder. And that's the easiest thing for you to do. That'll make sure that you get all the proper mods. You get them all at one time and you're good to go. Now, when I do the updates, I'm trying to go into the announcements page and tell you what mod I've updated, and that way you can just go in there and grab that information and do your update at one time and be good to go. All right, massage this back up a little bit. Back up. Swing out a little bit. Lock on. Drop that. All right, here we go. But yeah, that should work out for you guys that way. Hopefully that'll solve any issues that you're having with getting the files, getting them downloaded, and getting them in your computer. I always isolate my mods. I isolate my maps and my mods, and that way I don't have any conflicts going on. It just makes it a lot easier for me. If I go to somebody else's server, I always take my mods out of my game, put them somewhere safe. All my maps that I'm playing on, I put them somewhere safe in a file, and then I start a new mods folder. I download that person's mods and I go play on their server, and then I make a folder for them. Like when I play with Alex, in my documents I have a folder called Farm Sim Stuff, and inside of it there's a ton of folders. There's one for mods that need tested, mods to hold on to that I might use in the future, maps that I'm using. I've got a file in there called Landy Kids Server for all the files for Landy Kids Server. I've got one that says Recon. That's all the files that I use when I do forestry with Recon. Alex's server. I've got a set of files for Alex's server in there. So anytime I go on somebody else's server, I download the mods into a clean folder. I put them in there. Do I have duplicates in those folders? Absolutely. There's a lot of the files that I use on Landy's server, I use on mine. A lot of the files that Recon uses, I use on mine and on Landy's server. So some of the mods I may have on this computer 4 or 5 times, but it's easier for me to keep track of everything if I do it that way, and it works for me. It may not work for you. You may have to make some sort of variation on that, but hopefully it will work for you. Alright, so I'm going to start setting up for my plow here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise up 3 levels here and make my first cut into the field. So I'll go 1, 2, 3, make a turn here, because I want that nice gradual arc while I'm plowing. And I think I talked about this a little bit in my other video, but so now when I plow, when I come to the other side, I'm going to drop down and cut this bottom level. And then when I get to the back side of the field the next time, I will go up 5 levels and make my next pass. So in essence, what I'll end up doing is not taking this row, I'll take this row here, and then progressively I'm just skipping a row all the way up. And then that way, as I get to the other end of the field, I'll wrap down, cut this row, then by the time I get on this row, I'll wrap down and cut this row. And what I'll end up doing is I'll end up going up 5 and coming down 3, and it just works out for me better that way. Once I get it initially set up, that's the only fun part, is getting it set up and making sure each time you skip a row as you climb the field. Once you start getting your skip in, you'll get it down. But that's about what's happening as far as Farm Sim and the dedicated server, and playing on it. And again, I do apologize to you guys for the map change, going from Graceland to American Outback, and some of you guys played on American Outback for a little bit, and then all of a sudden I've jerked the carpet out from underneath you. And especially since yesterday's video was about American Outback and I just told you all about it, or Monday's video was all about it. But I just felt like, you know, listening to the comments from people, and I think y'all were all right with American Outback, but you just weren't as excited about it as you were with Graceland. And the bigger fields, I think everybody liked that. I think they liked being able to team up on the fields and work together, being able to slap 3 harvesters into the field at one time and go and just have fun with it. And so it was on my radar the entire time to get back to Graceland, and fortunately the issue got solved and we're back on it. And if some of you guys think, well, I don't want you guys thinking I'm gonna do this every week. You know, I don't want people sitting there at home going, well, I'm not going to play on that server, because every week dude changes it, and I don't want to be in there, get used to doing something, and every time I log on the server it's a different map. That's not the case. This was just a situation where unfortunately we had some problems with this map and we needed something to do until I could figure. I had no idea whether it was going to be a quick solution or a long-term drawn-out issue that was maybe it was an issue that was plagued dedicated servers, you know. So I had to do the research, and in the process of doing the research, I needed to do something. Trust me, I didn't want to set American Outback up. I spent my entire Saturday morning buying all the stuff, driving it from the shop, putting it into the farm, getting the map situated, and getting the implements and everything stored where they needed to be, and organizing the farm. I mean, that was hours out of my day on Saturday, and most people who were a lot of people were on Discord with me while I was doing it. They know I spent hours working on that just to get the map ready, and I was crushing myself to get it done so that we could get the Switch done instead of letting people waste more time on Graceland. But I like the map. I think it's a much better map for multiplayer. It's just huge. It's a 4x map, and it gives us the ability to do so much more. And once I figured out what the problem was, I jumped in Discord. I talked to several people in Discord, as well as texted some people, and everybody seemed to have the same opinion. That, I mean, when I mentioned it, some of you guys right off the bat were go back to Graceland. And so I get the distinct feeling that you guys didn't like American Outback. American Outback version 1 I think was a lot better than version 2. Version 1 had multi-fruit in it. It had sorghum. It had cotton, all kinds of stuff. It had some sort of like cherry facility. Alright, so here's where I start my rise, and I skip and come in here and get everything set up. I just need to skip one, and now after this I'm on my 3-5. So I'm gonna get this going. So we'll end up at the other end of the field. We'll drop down 3, cut that little piece of grass, and then we'll come back up and start plowing our next row. And I'll just do that all the way up the field and progressively work my way up the field. But yeah, you know, we end up, version 1 of American Outback, it had multi-fruit on it. It had like a cherry place where you could go do cherries. It had the steamed potatoes, the potato washing on it. All the animal fattening was on there. It had a seed master on it, and you could use the seed master to put seed into the greenhouses, as well as the hard point was on there, and a couple other things were on there as well. I don't remember all of them that are on there. The compost facility was on there. There was just so much to do on there before. And then version 2, I guess apparently there were a lot of bugs in the map, and so they went back and redid everything, and version 2 just didn't have anything left in it. It was stripped way down, and I wasn't really that impressed with it as to what version 1 was. Version 1 was a lot nicer. The planes were cool. They were a little annoying after a while, and the brown of the map and how overgrown everything was. It was a little too much, you know. It's nice to have green trees and mountains again, and not all that brown. So, and a lot of you guys have said the same thing. I didn't like all the brown. I didn't like the overgrowth. Like, I didn't like how everything was just completely overgrown. The grass and the bushes were so big and bushy, and it just looked like it looked more like a deserted town than it looked like a small community somewhere in the middle of nowhere. So, I mean, with the vehicles strewn all over the place, and it just looked like, oh, well, welcome to a deserted town that's overgrown with vegetation and everything. But again, I like the map, and I get what the guy was going for. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure I could have hours of fun on it. But there were some things that were just made me want to get back to this one even that much more. So, but again, and with all that said, please don't think that I'm going to be changing maps every week or messing around with it. I want to get the server to a stable point where the mods we're going to use are in the server. The gear that we're going to use is on the fields, that you know what you've got, and you can get in here and play every day with your friends and have a good time. And that's what it's all about, is getting in here, making some new friends, playing, doing the multiplayer aspect. Somebody said something yesterday about auto combine. There's no need for auto combine. You're on a multiplayer server. and hopefully it stays active, and that there's a whole lot of people on here so that you never need auto combine. You should be able to get on here, and somebody should be on here and able to help you out with it. I would say the first thing to do, jump on the server, say hi to everybody. If you're in Discord, jump into Discord, say hi to everybody, and see what's going on. If somebody needs help, I'm sure they're going to tell you what's going on. And you know, say, hey, what's going on? Anybody got any need any help or whatever? Go help people out. If somebody's already working in a field, resist the urge to jump in a harvester and go harvest a field, and you know, go help them plant. And then when they're done planting, the two of you can go jump in a harvester and a tipper and go harvest the field. You know, you don't have to harvest as soon as you jump on just because there's a field available. There's, you know, I'm sure somebody who's plowing alone or planting alone on these huge fields would you know, appreciate a little help. So just think about that a little bit. All right, so lift up, go 1, 2, 3, 4, and we take 5, and that's where I come up with the whole 3, 5. All right, and I shall continue to plow. But that's about it from Serverland. As far as the rest of this week, last night I had a migraine headache. I mean, it was just killing me. It hurt so bad. So I didn't do any kind of live streaming on Monday night. I say that I'm recording this Tuesday morning. I don't know if I get this up on Tuesday or on Wednesday. But anyways, I had a bad headache Monday night. That's the reason I didn't live stream. I was hoping I would get over it and get a stream in, but I didn't. I ended up testing on this map the entire night and you know, figuring out what was wrong with it, which is time well spent. So I'm happy to be back on this map, so I'll take that instead of doing a live stream. But hopefully I'll get the live streams back up and we'll live stream each night the rest of this week. The rest of this week, I've been working a lot in Empyrean and playing it. Got a lot of views, so hopefully you guys are enjoying that series, and we'll continue to do some more with it. I'll do some American Truck this week, and I need to get back in and do some bus sim as well this week. So we'll do all that, and then who knows, maybe start a construction project or something. But the focus this week is I want to get some more farm sim going and do some multiplayer farm sim in the streams this week. And I'll have a few Empyreans, just because, again, the videos a lot of times are just what I'm into and having fun with at the time. And I spent several hours in Empyrean over the weekend. When I wasn't testing on this map and pulling my hair out, I would take a break and go do a little galactic survival, and got a pretty cool base starting up. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoy that series. We'll drive some truck in the meantime as well. It's looking like American Truck Sim. It's looking like June's going to be about when we get Arizona, because I was reading the press. They were talking about with those, when they put out the photos this week, if you read between the lines, they're nowhere near getting that patch out. And when I say nowhere near, it doesn't seem like it'll be out in the next 30 days. So it's looking like June on it, because they still got to get the map to beta testing, and then they're talking about after they test it in beta, they'll go into open beta. So your first clue that it's getting close will be when they put it into open beta and do some testing. And the one thing about SCS, they usually do pretty good testing on their maps and stuff. So it's not like another game company that I've worked with that their idea with testing was 24 hours and they slapped it out. Um, they're pretty good about having their testing team go in there and spend a couple of weeks on working on issues and finding issues and resolving them, and then when they go to open beta and let us play with it and test, they end up, you know, taking their time with it and getting it right. That's the one thing you got to give Pavel in that group is they make sure they put it out right when they put it out. It may not be right in our eyes, but as far as the code is, they very little bugs in the stuff that they put out. So, and I have a sneaky suspicion, and if this is the case, I don't like this. I have a sneaky suspicion that Arizona and Paris are going to come out at the same time, which has me questioning, and this is where my suspicion comes in, that they're trying to appease both sides of the marketplace by not offending the ETS world by putting out something for ATS and not something for ETS at the same time. Because you look at everything with the wheel customization, all that, it's on both of them and everything else like that. And they're talking about Arizona's coming, but also the Paris DLC is coming. Well, it'll be interesting. Are they going to release them both at the exact same time, or are they going to stagger them? I sure don't want to see them at the same time. Number one, just from a monetary standpoint, that means for those whose money's a little bit tight and they work on like a fixed budget or something else like that. Let's say you're a youth and you only have like $20 a month you can spend on a game or allowance wise or whatever. That, okay, well, I've got $20 I can spend this month. Which one do I spend it on? Do I spend it on Paris or do I spend it on ATS for Arizona? At least if it's staggered out, they can say, well, I'm going to get the Arizona DLC as soon as it comes out, and then down the road I'll get the Paris DLC when it comes out. At the same time, also from a creative standpoint, I hope they're not holding up one project for the other one. In other words, we're not going to put we're not going to put Arizona out until Paris is out ready, or vice versa. We're not going to put Paris out until Arizona's ready, and we're holding up one DLC for another one. So I'm quite curious about that. It's you know, it's in the back of your mind. I'm sure it's in the back of a few of your other minds as well. Alright, so anyways, that's the game plan for this week. Periodically, I'll update you guys on what's going on the server. I'll try to get back into Manchester and Court Farms this week. You guys have to let me know in the comments what you want to see the most. Do you want to see multiplayer stuff? Do you want to see Manchester stuff? It's up to you. So a lot of times on the server, though, I mean, and I want to get back into doing more of the multiplayer side of it, where I get in and plow some and seed with everybody. Like yesterday, Cowboy and I were on American Outback, and I actually recorded an episode on American Outback yesterday and ended up throwing it away because I figured out that we could get off of that map, and it was like, well, there's no need in talking anymore about this map when we're moving on, you know. So but he and I got together and we gang plowed one of the fields on it. So it's not that I don't, it seems like I'm on here and by myself a lot. I'm not really. I have certain little tasks that I try to get done on the server as far as maintaining the server, and if people want to help me, that's fine, but there's certain little things that I'm trying to get done to get the server set up right for everybody. So plowing this field's one of them, and you guys can't plow fields, you can't create fields unless I'm online doing it. And there's also that point of I want to make sure that the field gets done and somebody doesn't mischievously go outside and plow outside the lines. You know what I'm saying? If everybody on the server knew that I was using create fields right now, someone who wanted to be a troll could go drive across the map and with a plow right now and wreak havoc. So there's sometimes when I'm just doing things and it might seem like I'm loner in it, but there's a reason why I'm by myself. Is if this was a regular field and I was just planting it to resow, I'd be asking for people to get over here and help me, and I'm sure somebody would come over here and help me. But it's little tasks like this that I end up getting on, or I go around and find all the equipment that's not, out in the middle of nowhere, and implements that have been left on the side of the field, and weights that have been dropped off wherever, and I got to reset all that to the farm and get all that taken care of, and just basically drive around and check the farm, make sure everything's right before I even get started doing anything fun and creative. But night times usually when I get on with like Sam or somebody and do something on the server. But I do want to get back into some of the Manchester and Court farms, but I know a lot of you guys like to see more of the 3-4 vehicles in the field. I mean, that's what multiplayer is all about, and I'll get some more of that going. And it's just kind of, a lot of hours. I put a lot of hours in on this server trying to make sure it's right, and part of it is coming in here and cleaning up mistakes like this, and so that when you guys get on, you'll have a field to plant, and this won't be an eyesore the way it was. So as far as grass, like I said, grass mowing, we'll move that operation over to any field that is available to mow. Probably going to be 21, 22, and like I said, I was talking to the guys in Discord a little bit earlier. Maybe jump the river and go over, and we'll work 44, 45, 46. Maybe sometime this week I'll grab a chainsaw and a couple of pieces of equipment. As you can see, we're not hurting for money. We're at $7 million now on the server. We got plenty of fundage. I'll eat into that buying some tractors today, but maybe this weekend we throw on a couple of chainsaw, throw a chainsaw in the game, and we drop a few trees, get a couple of Ponzi's and load those up into trailers and have those hauled off to the lumber mill, and we just get those fields back there ready to be just used as grass fields. And maybe that's where we do the grass harvesting and stuff back in that area, and we'll go from there with it. But anyways, that's about gonna do it for today, as I see time is getting long on us. I appreciate you watching today. As always, leave comments below. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know what you want to see on the channel, and of course, come join me on Discord. I'll be sitting in Discord most of the days. If I'm sitting in a channel just hanging out, feel free to jump in and talk to me. If you message me while I'm on Discord but I'm not sitting in a channel, chances are I'm either recording or I'm busy doing something else, and I may not respond to you. I'll try to get to you. If it's something important regarding the server, I will of course jump on and try to get that resolved immediately. But if I'm just in Discord but I'm not sitting in a channel, there's a chance I'm recording a video, or I may not even be next to the computer. I may be rendering a video and I've walked off and I'm doing something else. So don't think I'm ignoring you. It's just one of those situations where I'm occupied. I do a lot of multitasking during the day, so, and when I'm online I do a lot of multitasking. So All right, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, guys. Come on back and join us. Jump on the dedicated server sometime and play a little farm sim with us. Get on Discord, say hello. Don't be a stranger. Say hello. Anyways, take it easy. Have a great day. I will see you guys soon. See ya. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, I hope you consider giving it a like, maybe even sharing it with your friends. It does help me out a tremendous amount, and is greatly appreciated. Also, leave some comments down below. That's really the only way I can gauge if you guys are enjoying what's being put out. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you want daily notifications. I try to do a new video each and every day. Also, if you want to stay in touch with me and find out what's going on, our social links are down in the bottom left-hand corner. Twitter is where I usually announce schedule changes, live streams, and new video releases. Facebook's a great way to get in touch with me if you have any questions to ask. And of course, I am trying to get to 1,000 followers on Google+, which I know I'll probably be old and gray before that happens. But if you can jump over there and follow me, it would be super awesome. So if you like today's video, there's a whole lot more content on the channel. I hope you'll browse through it, find something to keep yourself entertained until the next video or live stream. Speaking of live streams, I try to do them nightly around 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Until the next time, thanks again for watching. See you soon.